It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, but your mind is miles away. You are not in your room. You're back in that conversation from hours ago, maybe even days ago. You're replaying the words, one by one, like a detective examining clues at a crime scene. You're dissecting their tone, searching for hidden meanings in a pause that lasted a fraction of a second. You feel that familiar, hot spike of adrenaline in your chest, the same one you felt when it first happened. Your heart rate quickens. You are constructing the perfect response, the witty comeback, the devastating rebuttal that is now utterly useless. You are polishing a sword for a battle that is already over, a battle you lost the moment you decided to keep fighting it alone, inside your own head. A ghost is living with you. It doesn't rattle chains or hide in the attic. It sits right behind your eyes. It uses your voice to whisper insults. It eats your food, but you're the one who never feels satisfied. It sleeps in your bed, but you're the one who can never find rest. It pays no rent, yet it is the most expensive tenant you will ever have, costing you your peace, your focus, and your power. And the most terrifying part? You gave it the key. You unlocked the door, invited it inside, and you continue to feed it with your most precious resource, your attention. This is not a rare affliction. This is the default state of the modern human. This is the reality for 99% of the population. A mind hijacked, not by a malevolent spirit, but by the casual opinions and careless actions of other people. Most people walk through life as puppets, their emotional strings pulled by phantoms. A critical comment from a coworker, a condescending look from a stranger, a passive-aggressive text from a family member. Each one is a string, and with every pull, you dance. You react. Your mood plummets. Your confidence shatters. Your entire day is derailed by an event that the other person has likely already forgotten. You have given complete strangers the remote control to your own nervous system. But there is another way. There exists a 1%. And I'm not talking about wealth or status. I'm talking about mental sovereignty. The 1% man, the 1% woman, understands a fundamental, non-negotiable truth of reality. Their mind is a fortress. It is the last citadel, the one piece of territory that is theirs and theirs alone. And they are the only one who stands guard at the gate. They understand that a fortress with an open gate is not a fortress at all. It is a public square, a free-for-all where any passing thought, any stray opinion, any hostile actor can wander in and cause chaos. This individual, this sovereign mind, is the sole authority. They decide who and what gets in. They inspect every piece of information, every emotion, every memory that requests entry. Most are turned away. Right now, your gates are not just unlocked. They are gone. The drawbridge is down, the sentries are asleep, and the walls have crumbled. You have spent years allowing anyone and everyone to march right into your most sacred space. The enemy is not at your gates, preparing for a siege. They are already inside. They are sitting in your command center, eating your rations, and drawing new maps for your future. They are having a feast at your expense. And until you recognize that you are the one who let them in, you will never, ever be free. You believe that by replaying the event, you are solving it. You tell yourself this is a necessary process, a form of mental due diligence. You think that by dissecting every word, every glance, every subtle shift in their tone, you will unearth some hidden truth, a key that will finally unlock your peace of mind. You are convinced that obsessive analysis will grant you power. You whisper a promise to yourself in the dark. Underscore, underscore, quote. Underscore zero. Underscore, underscore. You treat the memory like a crime scene, dusting for fingerprints, searching for clues, believing you are the detective who will crack the case and bring yourself justice. This is the most sophisticated lie your mind has ever constructed. It's a lie you tell yourself not to find freedom, but to justify the comfort of your own cage. It feels productive, doesn't it? It feels like you're taking action, like you are fighting back in the only arena you have left, the theater of your own mind. But this feeling of progress is an illusion, a masterfully crafted piece of self-deception designed to mask a terrifying reality. You are not solving a problem. You are becoming the problem. The original offense was the spark, but you are the one who is now gathering the kindling, pouring the gasoline, and tending to the fire, all while wondering why you are still getting burned. The reality is this. Every single second you spend thinking about a toxic individual, every ounce of mental energy you dedicate to their memory, is a resounding victory for them. They are no longer present, yet they are winning the war. They have moved on with their day. They are sleeping soundly. They are living their life, while you have willingly given them a permanent residence in your head. You are not sharpening your defenses. You are sharpening their knife with your own focus. Each time you replay their insult, you are not dulling its edge. You are honing it, making it more precise, more effective for the next time your own mind decides to stab you with it. You are taking your most valuable and non-renewable asset, your attention, and you are wiring it directly into their bank account, funding their psychic victory over you, long after the battle has ended. Let this sink in. You are not fighting back. You are volunteering to be a mental punching bag. The fight in the real world ended hours, days, or even years ago. The bell rang. The opponent went home. But you have stayed in the ring, alone, and you have programmed a machine to keep hitting you in the exact same spot, with the exact same force. And you call this quote 1, you call this quote 2, it is neither. Your strategy is not a strategy. It is a slow, self-inflicted poison. It's a toxin you willingly administer to yourself, a single drop at a time, convinced that if you can just understand its chemical composition, you will somehow become immune. But the poison doesn't care if you understand it. It only cares about its function, which is to corrupt and to destroy. It seeps from this one memory into the rest of your life, changing how you see yourself, how you interact with others, and how you perceive the world. You are destroying your own mental armor from the inside out, all while believing you're reinforcing it. This slow, self-inflicted poison you've been drinking. You believe it's medicine. You believe that by endlessly replaying the injury, you are somehow healing the wound, but you are not healing. You are keeping the wound open, allowing the infection of another person's judgment to fester deep within your psyche. You are destroying your own mental armor from the inside, all while believing you are reinforcing it. But what if there was an antidote? What if the key to your freedom was forged not in a modern laboratory, but in the brutal reality of ancient Rome by a man who had no physical freedom at all? His name was Epictetus. He was not a king or a general or a wealthy senator. He was a slave. His body was the property of another man. He could be beaten, sold, or killed on a whim. He knew true, absolute powerlessness in a way that you and I can scarcely imagine. And yet, this man, living in literal chains, discovered a law of the mind so powerful that it made him freer than the emperor himself. He gave us this key over 2,000 years ago, and it is called the dichotomy of control. The law is not complex. It is not a philosophy for academics to debate in ivory towers. It is a razor, a tool for separating the world into two, and only two, categories. It is absolute. Some things are up to us, and some things are not up to us. That is the entire law. The genius is not in its complexity, but in its ruthless application. Let us first examine the territory that is not yours, the things that are not up to you. What another person said to you is not up to you. It has already happened. It is a fact of history, as unchangeable as the rising of yesterday's sun. What they did is not up to you. Their actions are the product of their own mind, their own history, their own demons, a landscape you cannot possibly navigate or control. What they think of you. This is the phantom that haunts you most, and it is the most foreign territory of all. Their opinion exists inside their skull, not yours. It is their property. To spend even 1 second of your life attempting to police, manage, or change what goes on in the mind of another is a form of insanity. It is like trying to command the tide or argue with the rain. You are a general waging a war in a country that doesn't exist, burning your own resources, exhausting your own soldiers for a fantasy. Now, let us turn to what is up to you. This is your territory, your kingdom, the only ground on which you have absolute authority, your judgment about what they said. Notice, not what they said, but your judgment of it. The story you tell yourself about their words. Your decision to replay their words over and over again in the cinema of your mind. Your choice to give their actions meaning, to label them as disrespectful or an attack. This meaning is not inherent in the event. You are the one who applies it. Your focus is up to you. At any given moment, you can point the flashlight of your attention wherever you choose. And most importantly, your next action. What you do right now, in this second, is completely and utterly within your control. This is the entire battlefield. The 1% man, the master of his own mind, understands this with bone-deep clarity. He does not waste a single soldier of his mental energy defending land that was never his to begin with. He doesn't try to build forts in the minds of his colleagues or his enemies. He defends his own citadel. He strengthens his own walls. Every ounce of his focus is spent on what is up to him, his judgments, his choices, his actions. He knows that his inner fortress is the only thing that can never be conquered, unless he, the king, willingly opens the gates and invites the enemy inside for a feast. Understanding the law of control is one thing. Living it is another. Theory without practice is a shield made of paper. The 1% man does not hope for a strong mind. He forges one through relentless execution. He has a protocol. It is simple. It is brutal. And it works not because it is clever, but because it is practiced without fail. This is the drill for building your mental armor. It is not a debate. It is not a negotiation with your feelings. It is an immediate, 3-step action you take the very second you detect the enemy at the gates. Step 1. Identify and isolate. The moment the thought of this person, this comment, this event enters the theater of your mind, you do not engage with the story. You do not analyze its plot or question its characters. You perform a single, critical function. You label it. You see it for what it is, an intruder, a phantom, an echo from a battle that is already over. You must mentally say to yourself, _quote_3_. This act of identification is crucial. It creates a separation. Before, you and the thought were one. You were swimming in the poison. Now, you are the observer on the riverbank, watching the poison flow by. You are no longer the victim of the thought. You are the guard who has spotted it. This is not a small step. It is the entire foundation. Without this separation, you will be swept away every single time. You must see the ghost before you can exorcise it. Step 2. Apply indifference. Once the intruder is identified, you must strip it of its power. And its power comes from one place and one place only: the emotional meaning you give it. You must deconstruct the narrative. The story you tell yourself is, quote 4, quote 5, quote 6. These are stories. They are judgments. They are the poison. The protocol demands you reduce the event to objective, sterile fact. Quote 7, quote 8. That is all. It is data, not drama. You must view their action as you would view a natural phenomenon. When a dog barks, you do not construct a story about how its bark is a personal attack on your character. When the rain falls, you do not feel that the sky is being unfair to you. You see these events as neutral occurrences in the world. You must learn to see the actions of others in the same light. They are external events, driven by a billion factors outside of your control. Their insecurities, their history, their own inner turmoil. To be offended is to assume their action was about you. The 1% man knows it is almost never about him. It is about them. By applying indifference, you refuse to drink the poison they are offering. You simply observe it, acknowledge it as data, and let it be. Step 3. Reclaim your focus. This is the final, physical blow. Identification and indifference create the opening, but this step wins the war for your mind. Immediately, without a moment's hesitation, you must pivot your attention to a task that serves your purpose. The pivot cannot be passive. You cannot simply decide to think about something else. You must act. The action must be immediate and deliberate. It can be small, but it must be real. Stand up and do 10 push-ups. Open the book you are reading and consume a single paragraph. Write down the single most important task you need to accomplish today. Send that one email you have been putting off. This physical or mental pivot is a neurological reset. You are actively shutting down the neural pathways that fuel rumination and activating the pathways of purpose and action. You are cutting off the phantom's food supply. Every time you allow the phantom to linger, you feed it your attention. It grows stronger. Every time you pivot to a productive action, you starve the phantom and feed your mission. You are literally rewiring your brain, teaching it that when this specific trigger appears, the automatic response is not to spiral, but to build. This is not a one-time fix. This is a drill. The intruder will return. It will test the gates tomorrow and the next day. And you will run the drill. Again, and again, and again, until the intruder learns that there is nothing for it here, until your fortress is silent and you are the only one in command. This protocol is not a theory. It is not a comforting idea to be filed away for later. It is a weapon. And a weapon that is not used is nothing more than dead weight. You have been given the schematics for your mental armor and the manual for your defense system. Now, you will be given your first command. This is where knowledge ends and action begins. This is the moment that separates the perpetual victim from the emerging victor. Do not treat this lightly. Your mind is the most valuable territory you will ever occupy, and for too long, you have allowed squatters and vandals to roam its halls freely. That ends today. That ends now. Before this day ends, You will execute this protocol. I want you to stop and identify the primary phantom that currently lives in your head. Do not pretend you don't know who it is. It is the one whose voice is loudest in the quiet moments, the one whose memory costs you the most sleep, the most focus, the most peace. It might be a former boss, a family member, a past version of yourself. This entity is your primary target. You will not wait for a convenient time. The next time its echo appears in your mind, whether in 1 hour or in 5 minutes, you will not engage. You will not negotiate. You will run the drill. You will identify it as an intruder. You will apply absolute indifference, reducing their actions to mere data. And you will immediately, violently, pivot your focus to a task that serves your mission. This is your first test. It is a declaration of a new regime. Your regime. This is not simply about thinking differently. It is about acting differently. The 99% consume information like this and feel a momentary sense of empowerment, which fades as soon as the next distraction arrives. They mistake the feeling of learning for the act of doing. The 1% understand that a command requires execution. They know that true change is forged in the fires of disciplined action, not in the comfort of passive agreement. To signal your commitment to this new protocol, to yourself, and to this new standard, you will perform one final action. You will write a declaration in the comments below. This is not for me. This is not for an algorithm. It is a psychological trigger. It is the act of drawing a line in the sand. It is a digital ceremony marking the moment you stopped being a tenant in your own mind and started being the warden. It is the password to your own fortress, spoken aloud for the first time. The affirmation is, I control the gate. This is more than a phrase. It is your new reality. It is the fundamental principle upon which your mental sovereignty will be built. Writing it down solidifies your intent. It transforms a fleeting thought into a concrete commitment. It is a signal to your subconscious that the old ways of thinking are no longer authorized. It is your first official act as the sole guardian of your mind. So do it now. Write, I control the gate, to confirm you have received this transmission and to lock in your decision. Subscribe for your next briefing on mental warfare. Dismissed.